Hey there, welcome to ATL and 29, a podcast that looks at the NBA from the starting point of Atlanta. My name is Kevin Chenard. I'm here with Tyler Jones and Glenn Willis, and we are recording moments after the Hawks completed a loss to the Miami Heat in Miami. Um, that game was kind of a hot mess. I don't know. There are some times where the Hawks lose, and it's just like you shrug your shoulders. I felt like there were some systemic problems in this game. But I don't know. Maybe you don't feel as strongly. What did you see tonight, Glenn?
Yeah, it was. I mean, it was a weird thing for the Heat. The Hawks they start two bigs essentially, right? The Heat do, which they haven't done in a long time. The last 3 years, they played like basically four guards and wings, and attack you that way. And Quinn went small. In the preview I put up on Patreon, I said the Hawks cannot let the Heat drag them in a half court battle, right? The Heat want to run everything in the half court, defend everything in the half court. In the first quarter, they came out like dominating the pace. And that's how they got whatever it was, 12, 15 point lead at some point. And then Spo was like, okay, we're gonna attack this small lineup by ISOing, which is a completely anti-Heat thing to do. But Spo's freaking awesome. He's really good. And it took the whole second quarter for the Hawks to kind of maybe start to figure that out a little bit, but it's tell as old as time in the NBA. You dig a big hole, it takes you all your energy to try to get back into contention in the game, and then you have no energy at the end of the game, right? And it's you see it over and over. I mean, I was they kind of figured out the offense in the fourth quarter, uh, minus some turnovers that were just that were ugly. But my least favorite things were I mean I don't want to pretend like it was an automatic and easy solution, but watching Man defend Hero when Dyson was off the floor kind of drove me crazy. I would rather see, even if Ricochet has similar results, I'd rather him get those reps. Um, you know, and then they
Not that
finally
he
did.
had success when he was guarding uh Hero tonight. I thought, Hero
Yeah,
scored
it
pretty
wasn't
got around him pretty
felt like
easily.
it. Yeah, it felt like it wasn't that many times, but I feel like I trust Zach to kind of learn on the fly and adjust and get coached through it and stuff like
Yeah,
that.
that's fair.
I feel like man just doesn't have the foot speed to deal with
I
them.
I feel
You
like
know,
Ricochet just struggles like you were talking about Kevin when he was it was that Hero was beating him off the catch, right? Like he was already in motion and like Ricochet was in rotation and Hero was taking advantage of that. Like it felt like Ricochet was never just asked or Ricochet never put himself to play him chest to chest defensively, if that makes sense. It was more like he's trying to zone him up because I think that's what this Glenn, maybe you could talk more about that. It felt like the defensive scheme they were playing, they were doing a lot more zonish type stuff where they were constantly helping off of their man because they were a smaller team. And I thought after that first stint, really the Heat kind of figured out how to attack that just one on one ISO. But then also the pass ahead just immediately you know uh sprint basically the defender like rim runs to the I mean the offensive player just goes straight to the rim after one rotation or and that leads to an open corner three-pointer. I just think the Hawks were defending differently in large part because they were smaller. When they play big, they're more grounded. It's more basic. I think they were doing something new, and it worked for the in the first quarter. And I felt like uh, they maybe should have just gotten out of it because it just felt like they were doing stuff that wasn't comfortable for them defensively. Like a lot of them just felt like everybody just felt like a bit out of place more than usual. And I really felt I was like, man, if Quinn's gonna run this scheme, it's just not gonna work without Jalen Johnson. You
Yeah,
know,
the
and
one-on-one attacks, like they were always from the angle.
yep,
A lot of it was Kyle Anderson going at Niang, and they would, if it was a Kongwu guarding Bam, they would keep a Kongwu high, try to keep so that he wasn't, one play away, and then it was just confusion on the back line, and in that regard, like it didn't seem like it felt like Riza Shea missed that a few times, like he
yeah,
needed to be the
absolutely.
low man help, and he was doing something new, and like he just didn't know, like. he just had to commit to the bit a little bit there, and he just didn't. I felt like he missed a few of those.
And so I think it was a carryover because they did come back in the second half of the Rockets game, putting Ricochet at the four.
Mhm.
But you know, the Rockets are a less complicated offense. You know, just to keep it simple, like you kind of know where the Rockets want to attack. The Heat do run a complicated scheme, so I just think he was a little out of sorts there defensively, and it really felt like Quinn needed to not overreact to what happened during the Rockets game, where Gay just was ineffective. Like the offense was ineffective, and so he pivoted. But like the Rockets are such a better, more physical, like just a bigger basketball team.
And the
Like
Rockets did it weirdly. Like they put Dylan Brooks on a Kongwu, and they had Şengün on Mo Gay. So like they were ready for any Okongwu screens because they could just switch that with, and just
yep.
get Brooks into it, and that kind of stifled the offense a little bit.
It felt like offensively Quinn wanted a Congu to be guarded by a center or a big player at all times, and they were going to flow from there offensively. I just think, you know, Quinn's just got to eat the bullet. Like you're not going to be able to play the ideal brand of basketball that you want to play. You don't have the power forward to do it. Like you just don't. Unless you're going to play. Like I was a little confused why he never went to Niang and Ricochet on the floor together, fully understanding that Niang was a little slow for the game, but like those like Niang knows what he's doing. Ricochet knows what he's doing. If you're asking him to play out in front at the three, and then you work to Ricochet at the four if he gets into the flow of the game. I just felt like a little bit was put on Ricochet's plate defensively in ways that like they just haven't done all year. Like they were hard hedging every screen action. I'm like, they haven't done that all season. And so it was clearly this was a game plan that the Hawks were going to try to take advantage. I just think they were just doing too much. I think and it didn't go towards their strengths of what they had built the past like 12 or so games. Like I just think they kind of went away from what worked best for them and trying to attack Miami's lack of point guard play. And it did work. Like to be fair, it did work in that first quarter, but like the Heat adjusted. Like they Mitchell basically played the vast majority of the game the rest of the way. And like regardless how you feel about Mitchell, he is a real point guard with a real handle, bring the ball up the floor. And so I think Quinn needed to adjust back and be like, okay, they're attacking us off the catch. I need more help. I need more size. Maybe I'll throw Mo Gay out there for a couple minutes just to kind of put a solve on this because like it was just too easy offensively, and it wasn't like guys were getting beat. Like that was what was frustrating. It was more like tactically they were behind what the Heat were doing in ways that the Hawks were ahead at the beginning of the game. When they adjusted, it just felt like the Hawks never really adjusted back, and then it kind of devolved into like their offensive process just went completely out of whack as well. And Glenn can talk about that. It was an awful game, but like, I mean, I just think a lot of it just boils down to you don't have Jalen, so you don't really have the scheme versatility that you would like to run with. And I think Quinn, hopefully, he sees that and goes back to what haven't looked like. For as poor as he thinks Mo Gay has been playing, like the results are in like that lineup has worked, and he can't play it for like extended stretches, but 10 minutes, 15 minutes a game, like that's good enough because they got to buy minutes for Niang and they got to buy minutes for Ricochet. Like that's just the reality.
I have a question. Let me ask you, Glenn. Like, why are they so hesitant to play Mo Gay off the bench? Like, it seems like it's either starter or bust. And like to me, like in that Houston game, they did the weird thing with the starting lineup, which was, effective. Credit to Houston for doing it. But like, if you need to punt Mo from your starting lineup, does he have to go out of the rotation entirely? Because like if you go to the Houston game, to me it felt weird. Like the Hawks got absolutely pummeled by size by Houston's bench when Houston was using two bigs, and like in this game, Like, okay, you didn't start Mo. That's fine. And, it kind of worked in the first quarter. But then when Miami gets into that one-on-one kind of action, like you're just dying for somebody who has extended skills as a help defender. And like, is there a way? Is it too hard to deviate from the gameplay? Is there any real reason why like Mo has to go out of the rotation if he doesn't start? I'm just kind of confused by that.
Yeah, so I think different things between the Houston game and the Miami game. So the Houston game, I think with Houston really committed to that zone, Quinn wanted shooters on the floor,
Sure.
right? I feel like he had to have shooters on the floor. And it didn't work. I mean, they created open threes, but I said on Twitter, like, it's so funny how NBA players are not used to just generating threes against zone. You just don't, they just don't get it's a completely different process, and you can kind of see the impact of that. So I feel like it was that. And then trying to play Mo when they had, both Adams and Şengün on the floor. That's a pretty tough, kind of matchup there. Tonight, I felt like Quinn just felt like they had to dictate pace the whole game to win the game. And it's kind of funny because I think we all expected for Miami to really trap and double Trey, and they did some, but sometimes they just played them straight up. But Quinn got another ball handler on the floor and beat, another creator on the floor and beat, and that worked in the first quarter. But you know how good Spo is, and Spo's going to be like, it's not going to take him the whole game to figure out what he wants to do to kind of what you have going on there. Tonight, I don't. I mean, tonight would it have helped? I mean, Mo has foot speed, and and could he have executed the new stuff that they did on like stuff they did on defense against Miami was if Bam or Kyle Anderson, I think mostly caught the ball below the elbow, like on the mid post down towards the low block. They traded help from the top side and from the baseline side, both sides, right? And I think what Quinn was trying to get them to do is like they're in the Heat run split cuts on the weak side when they have the ball down on the block like that. They were in split cuts, back screen split cuts, all that sort of stuff. And so I think Quinn's decision was we're just going to pressure the passer. We're just going to like get three bodies kind of in the way and pressure the passer. And Miami started just kind of pushing the ball back out to the top side once the help top side help kind of shaded down and went from there. And they kind of figured it out from in that way. I mean, I once Niang wasn't really going to play again in the second half of the night, I wouldn't have mind seeing Moge play some. If you ask a coach, they might say it would be unfair to have him sit the whole first half and not really have been in the mix and running this, and then all of a sudden in the middle of the third quarter, you're like, "Go do it." That for a young guy. That. Yeah, I'm just kind of guessing at that. The other part of this, I'm curious what you guys think is this is about the point in the season where teams start feeling like they have a general idea of who they're going to face. In the Hawks case, in a playing game, right? And we'll see what happens on Saturday. I think their next game's on Saturday, right? Versus
Sunday.
Milwaukee, right?
Sunday.
Sunday. Okay, thank you. Um,
Yeah, Sunday.
when might have just decided like this is what we will need to run against Orlando. This this is what we will need to do against this team, right? And if you watch all across the league, coaches start shifting and pivoting towards things they will anticipate needing to run against who they are most expected to see in the match. Now out west, it's how do they figure out who's the start from the very top, right? And the East is pretty clear. So Cleveland pulled away, Boston's right there, and then New York and Indy are there, and that sort of stuff. But the rest of the East is pretty clear. So, but if you watch across the league at this time of year, here about end of March, you start seeing coaches start implementing things to give their team time to acclimate to it before they get to play-in or playoffs. And I don't know that that's what's happening here, but this is the time you often see that.
Okay. Well, I get.
Kevin, to your point with Mo, I just think Quinn has set rotations that he sets before the game starts, right?
Okay.
So like if the game plan is for um and pretty much in the first half, and then in the second half he will adjust based on what happened in the first half. But with Mo in particular, I do think it's a little weird that he didn't go back to Mo in the like he didn't at least try it because I just to me like I just think just in general Quinn has a bad habit of like he wants to play a certain style of basketball and he will go small regardless of how those five guys are going to be on the floor if they're able to execute his scheme on the offensive side of the floor. I think he trends too much offensively when the talent on this team is defensive based currently. Outside of Niang, Karis LeVert, the guys the Hawks players that they traded for. I just think I think the identity of this team has been defense. Granted, their defense has kind of slacked a bit, but like overall, like that's where they get their confidence from is that they're good defensively, and the way to be good defensively in the NBA is to be one to be able to match up physically with the team you're going up against. I just think tonight it was just flat out like they were just getting outsized, like they were getting outsized. Guys were getting moved around, guys were getting pushed around, and Quinn didn't like adjust to what was happening on the floor defensively, and that bled into like Trey just for I want to say half the game, just like going off the reservation and doing whatever. Like that was I did not like a lot of what Trey was doing. Uh, it just felt like he was too often trying to get the game back by himself in ways he hasn't done all season. This game in particular, but I mean, at the same time, I did understand it when to knock on Ricochet when Ricochet's not looking to score for some reason on the offensive side of the floor. Like I can understand Trey being like, okay, the guys are needing me to step up. I got to do what I can here. I just think overall it felt like too much of a shock to what everybody was doing. It kind of threw this team off rhythm, at least defensively. Where if you just would have simply matched up with Mo, especially considering the Heat played start two centers, like I didn't understand Quinn going away from what worked. And he did it. And you're right, Kevin. He did do it against the Rockets, where he went with his super small lineup when they had Adams and the other center on the floor. Like I just think, and while Quinn had his like literally his smallest lineup that he could play, with Barlow at center, and I don't even think Yang was on the floor. Like it was just one of those things where I just think Quinn's not looking at what the other team is doing, and he's just looking internally how he wants his team to play. He wants his team to dictate terms. I'm just of the opinion they don't have the talent to do that.
I feel like I'm harping on minutia, but like even if you're like, okay, I want my set rotation, I want to focus on what we're doing, not as much as what the other team's doing. Why isn't Mo Gay the backup center? Like, why is it Barlow? Is it like an offensive thing? Like, is he better as a roller? Is it a comfort level with that? What am I missing? Because to me, I,
I think it's offensively, Kevin. I do
yeah,
think
I agree.
Barlow's a better finisher, better
Short
hand,
roll, better
stronger,
handle. Right.
stronger
yeah, better in
player.
the short row. Okay,
Where
but I mean,
Gay
it's just like
Gay
again,
at
like
center.
in this game, like it felt like the bench, like the bench offense wasn't a screen and roll offense to begin with. Like it was, I don't know.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
just think Quinn needs to trust Gay more. Like fully understanding that sometimes he's got to take Gay out, but like he's got Mo's been good for this team. When he plays, he literally gets you to buy minutes so that you can play Niang for 25 minutes a night and not just get destroyed like what happened this night. Like it was like Ricochet and Niang never played with each other. I'm like, what are we doing here?
Yeah, I didn't like the Ricochet Barlow minutes. I feel like Kongu helps keep him organized and he trusts when the rotations are going to come. And it felt like there were some gaps there when it
Yeah,
was Ricochet and Barlow.
yeah. It's just it's tough with Barlow because he's just not there defensively in ways you want a team that's trying to win some playoff. Either in the play-in or the playoff. Like he's not there on the defensive side of the floor. and I don't think Mo's not really there either. But Mo has the size and to make up for it, and the length to make up for it. Where Barlow, when he's just playing center, like doesn't they and it just felt like, you know, when a Kongu's not in general, it just felt like for against the good teams in particular, when a Kongu's not in the game, the Hawks are in trouble. Like it just and I think Spolstra really took advantage of that. Like he set his rotation so that Bam was on the floor when Barlow was in the game, and really press that advantage there. Just because like Barlow's again, he's being taxed with doing a little too much for where he is as a player right
I think it's also fair to point out Ricochet hasn't played power forward a lot of minutes in the game in a
That's
while.
right.
Right. And then the scheme was different. But the other thing, like on offense, I think Ricochet didn't look confident. I don't want to get too technical, but like the Heat do a lot of things differently on defense than like a lot of teams. So like you got a shooter in the corner, ball rotates to him in the corner. A lot of players just teams they close to the shooting hand, right? That's what they do is they close to the shooting hand. The Heat actually close like so if you're in the left corner, right, and the ball gets you, they actually close to your right hip and box you in that corner. They don't let you dribble out of that corner. Right. They're not just closing to your shooting and they don't let I mean the Hawks took what 6 or 7 shots like at the end of the shot clock down on the corner tonight because that's a completely different kind of closeout technique that the Heat use, especially when you have they just don't let you dribble out of the corner or pass out of the corner. They trap you there, and I don't think I've ever seen a team across the league do it like that. But the Heat do that all the time, and I think Ricochet didn't know how to deal with that. I think there were other guys who struggled with it as well. But if you're playing on offense with to have Mo sit in the weak side corner, and they closed out, boxed him in that corner, like yeah, that's a pretty ugly scenario in that way. So there's a lot of the Heat are so ridiculously organized and orchestrated on defense to technique that it's hard for young guys. It really is. And I feel like I felt like that was the one thing I saw tonight that was impacting Ricochet most as he got stuck in that corner and couldn't get the ball moved out of the corner.
Are there other things you want to talk about? Should we want to talk about Terrence Mann?
Uh, so yeah, I mean, it's Tyler shaking his head. So Gwen is giving him a lot of rope, man. I think, or a long leash. Is that the right way to say it? Is that right? The thing I want to
now.
say?
Yes,
And I believe I don't know. I haven't talked to anyone, never heard from it. I believe they just want to see that first of all, they want to empower him. And second of all, before we get to the offseason, they want to see how much can he acclimate to being on ball in our offense. And tonight there were what 4 or 5 like obvious, misreads, miss opportunities to pass the ball, passing up a wide open three, late shot clock. So I don't know. It doesn't bother me or frustrate me like it does everyone else. I don't know why it doesn't. I feel like I'm just like they're just giving him an opportunity to acclimate, and it's sort of like they did, and I compared it a little bit the way they did with Dyson earlier in the year. They just like we're not trading for backup point guard. We're giving Dyson all these reps because Dyson needs to develop off this offensive skill to be a starter, like on our next good Hawks team. Dyson has to have functionality on offense as much as he does on defense, or to a reasonable amount on offense, right? I feel
Yeah.
like right now they're like, we're just going to see if Terrence can do it. We're just going to see if he can do it. And
It's so different though. Like I get the analogy, but like the Dyson thing, you get a whole training camp and a whole preseason, and at the start of the
sure,
season, you're practicing between every game. They don't really practice now. Like it's just so ad lib because it just doesn't seem like they get the reps off the court behind the scenes to like fully make that work. It just looks like, hey, go try to do something.
it was ugly tonight. I mean, but then in the second half, he made some key critical shots. He was part of the group that
Yeah,
came
no,
back
I mean
when he's off the ball and catch and shoot and
yes,
stuff like that. He's
he
pretty
that
looks
good. But
fine catch and shoot. Absolutely, yeah.
there
and
is
that's
no room in the Hawks offense for a guard or a wing to be strictly catch and shoot. It's motion, it's on ball, it's
That's
DHO,
right.
it's pistol, it's all that stuff, and they got to figure out if he can do it or not. To me,
yeah, but it's like 2 games in a row where when he's on the ball, it's just a mess. Like on offense, And then like in the second half, they're like, all right, you're a pure catch and shoot guy, just move and rotate the ball, or play off the catch, and he's a lot better. And so I just think in the second half he kind of helps the team win games. I just think he has like Terrence Mann is not some young basketball player. He's 28 years old. He is what
That's
he is
true.
as an and I just think I'm not really a big fan of him having all this responsibility in games. And also like he's got to make better decisions. Like he had back-to-back fast break opportunities where he just completely missed guys streaking down the floor for no particular reason, like other than he has to dribble the ball. Like it's very Westbrookian sometimes how he tries to constantly get to the front of the rim and attack when there's a better option available. So I just think overall, I've not been a fan of both his minutes, where he plays on the floor. Like I like him a lot better when he's a guard next to a point guard, but he's his, defensively he's guarding other guards. Offensively, he's being asked to be a more or less a 3-and-D player. Like that's where Terrence Mann is good at, like legitimately a good basketball player. It's just been a lot of it's been way too much of them tasking him with stuff he's not capable of doing. Like tonight, they had him guarding Andrew Wiggins when Ricochet's in the game. Why? You know, I it harkens back to what they did with the Clippers when they had him guarding Kawhi Leonard when Ricochet and Daniels were in the game. Like, what are we doing there? Like you're the smaller player. Like you're like it's just too easy to back you down, and we're forced to be in rotations in the help, and then we're giving up open corner 3-pointers to good shooters. So I'm not liking overall how he's being used as a player, because when he's used correctly, he's fine. Uh, Interesting enough, I think he does a very good job when he's asked to switch on the bigs, uh,
Hmm.
opposed to just being asked to guard a bigger player. If that makes it, if he's being asked to switch, he's actually really good at denying the ball, at denying,
Yep.
he's passing lane, taking that away and causing turnovers. So to me, I'm just like, but these are all things that are known. Like this isn't new. Like I'm pretty sure the Hawks scouting department knows what Terrence Mann is good and bad at. Why are they asking him to do stuff that he's not good at? That's what I'm confused with. And tonight was a culmination of they're asking a lot of guys to do stuff they hadn't done all year. I didn't care for it. Hopefully they go back to just Mo Gay at power forward, and it's like, okay, it's 15 minutes of the offense being hope Trey finds some magic. But like I would prefer that. You get stops, Ricochet gets out in transition, gets easy buckets. Like that's a winning formula. Why would we go away from that? I don't get that from this organization. Don't understand what they're trying to solve for X here. They don't have if and Glenn, to your point, they don't have the size to play this way against the Magic. The Magic are way too big. Paolo and Franz would just literally go through the Krejci if he's on the floor. Like literally just walk him under the rim. That is not like to me. I found this starting lineup. I'm like, this is not a real solution to the problem. Stick with Gay. It was working. It's fine. Like there's it's not great offensively. I understand, but this was a just a flagrant overreaction to a 1 game sample where the Rockets, credit to them, took advantage of the Hawks' lack of shooting that night. But you figured it out as the game went along. You almost came back and won the game. Um, I just didn't understand it against the Heat, who are a less talented physical basketball team than the Rockets. Like you could have just played how you've been the previous games where you were getting the best results since Jalen Johnson got hurt.
Can we go back to the Rockets game for just a minute?
Sure.
What do you guys see when you watch Jalen Green play?
Somebody who, if he realized he's hard to stop getting to the front of the rim, he'd he'd be a near max contract player. But um, he when he's off rhythm, he'll force it. But like, I mean, the way he's able to get to the front of the rim with his speed, quickness, and athleticism and finish through contact, like it's impressive. Uh, I thought I thought he had a great game against the Hawks, primarily because he was just constantly attacking the Hawks, getting downhill and making stuff happen. But too often, it is tough though. To be fair, like the Rockets aren't the most spaced team, so I understand, and he's being tasked with being a shooter. But like I think his best trait is driving to the front of the rim and finishing through contact. But the team's not set up for him to consistently succeed. So like he has these scoring bursts when his shot is falling. Like his shot's been falling the last month or so. So now teams are guarding him tighter. He's able to just blow by them and get to the rim in ways that when his shot isn't falling, he can't do it.
Right. And then the way to get him is to, make him get to a plan B. Like his plan A, if he's got the shot and the drive both working, that's great. But like you have to figure out a way to rotate in the help and make him a decision maker because that's not the strength of his game is finding his teammates. Like I imagine if you're a Rocket playing alongside him, it's not a terribly fun experience. But he
That's
has a
what I
lot of
see.
talent. Like if he gets coached up into, you know, really advancing all parts of his game, like there could be something there. But right now, I think it would be, I think there are going to be games where he gets challenged as a decision maker when defenses are good enough to get somebody in front of him, whether it's at the beginning or the end of his drives.
I, I don't want to pretend like I know what's going on with the Rock, but like you see, like if you pay attention, you see player roll his eyes. He breaks process a lot. Right now, he's young, he's learning. They seem to give him a lot of latitude. He scored a million points in that game. Like he was unstoppable one on one, but he breaks process all the time, right? But I mean, the Rockets might be like, yeah, this we're going to give him a lot of latitude and like we're not going to put pressure on him. We're not going to try to over engineer him in like a short period of time or whatever it's going to be. But when they get in the playoffs, that stuff's not going to work. I mean, to your point, Kevin, teams are gonna be like, can you pass the ball? Can you make a decision? Can you read the floor? Can you see where the help is coming from? And it's gonna be ugly, right? Now that's true for young guards almost all in all cases, like their first time
Sure.
in that situation. So I'm not, I don't want to be like unfairly hard on him, but in that way, he's got a long way to go. But I mean, his physical gifts are elite. I mean, his first step, his downhill, his speed, his ability to elevate, in the jump shooting, but he riffs a lot right now, and thankfully they got some pretty good veterans on that team that are hopefully just giving him support and love kind of along the way because that way he's got a long way to go. But that if there's one team besides the Hawks I want to watch in the playoffs to see. I want to see how Jalen Green deals with that. That's going to be a very interesting thing to watch. I think Houston's going to have an issue in a playoff setting, in a playoff context. I think Houston knows where they need to improve, add jump shooting, add other things as well and stuff like that. But and then the other thing on Houston is like that move to put Dylan Brooks on a Kongwu. That's the most Celtics things ever. Like the Celtics do not ever let you send their bigs up the floor. Like
Yeah.
we saw that him do that with Boston with Robert Williams and Horford and all of that. That is the most Celtics things ever. And they do not let you send their bigs up the floor. They keep the bigs low man on the baseline, ready to help them paint the rim. So for me, I saw that and I was like, this doesn't surprise me at all. But I can't, Jalen Green's got a long way to go as a decision maker. Um, but he's fun to watch. Even though it looks like he frustrates his teammates quite a bit.
Do you
I
have
mean, it's
thoughts
tough.
about?
I mean,
Oh, sorry.
I mean, he is flat out their most talented offensive player. You know, I'm more because like Sengun, he's just not very efficient, as a center. And the shots that he generates for himself just aren't quality looks for an offense first player. Like to me, understanding that Sengun plays more within the flow of the offense, like in a playoff environment, like I just thought Conklin completely shut off anything Sengun wanted to do as an offensive player. And like literally, I'm like, you want to take this one-legged fadeaway 17 feet from the rim? Go ahead, bro. Like we
He
can do
made one
this.
of them.
I'm like, bro, you'll make if you want to make an entire career off of this against me, go ahead. And like I just don't think he has the physical talent to play the way that he plays, considering his faults on the defensive side of the floor. Like I think in especially in the Western Conference, like teams are going to eat him up defensively. But like the Rockets, to their credit, they have a lot of talent. Like they just have a lot of physical talent and NBA talent in ways that the Hawks just without Jalen Johnson, they just don't like when you could just bring a Jabari Smith and play him at the three. Like that was the difference in the game. Like they went super big, and the Hawks that was basically checked for the majority of the game until Quinn was like, "All right, Ricochet, just going to have to guard Steven Adams, and good luck, bro." Like on the glass, and it kind of worked because for whatever, like that was the most physical Ricochet has played at power forward all season. And I think he was like, "All right, you did that against the Rockets. Can you do that for a full game against the Heat?" Like just to go back, I just think Ricochet just wasn't sure where to help because again, the Rockets run a simple offense. Like their offense is not complicated, so it's easy for Ricochet to time where to help, to time his actions, to time his movement. Tyler Hero got an easy layup off Ricochet because Ricochet was trying to take away one action, and Hero just completely bailed on the offensive side. He was like, "Oh, I got him beat. He's going early. I got him." And he got and like just got an easy layup, backdoor layup from Bam Adebayo. And like that's stuff the Rockets don't do. They don't have that in their arsenal. And it's easier for Ricochet to play as the bigger player in that system. Whereas against a Heat team, like you need another real rim protector just to because of all the options, all the movement you got to be aware of. Like somebody's going to have a breakdown, and so you want some size and length on the floor to kind of adjust for. So
Well said.
All right. Well, I appreciate you joining me, and we'll have to go watch his Bucks game this weekend. Thanks, gentlemen. Night, Bob.
There you go.
about